31st, 2011, for the first time in my life, I'm going to try the stand-up comedy thing. Been doing a lot of research. Some comedians, in preparation, they look at meditation or they visualize on stage. I've came up with my own method of preparation. Translated from the Latin, it's heavy drinking.
We concur. Cheers.
Well, unless you count the time I tried stripping, but that memory. That was a really cold stage. I had no idea it was going to be an all-male audience. They can be really mean. Anyway, I'm Jon Peck. I'm from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. That makes me half Irish and half Scottish. It's a pretty nasty combination because it means I love to drink, but I hate to pay for it. I come from a really isolated little fishing village on the eastern tip of Cape Breton Island. If you can't imagine, I grew up cut off from the outside world. It was a really rough childhood. You might think I exaggerate, but for the first 11 years of my life, I thought the Prime Minister of Canada was Alexander Keith. Well, I know better than that now. He was the first Prime Minister. And we had this disease that was going through our community when I was growing up. It was pretty weird. It was the only thing the adults would talk about. I observed this as a kid. It only affected males over the age of 18. And it always lasted exactly 15 weeks. And if you had it, you couldn't work. It was called Pogey. Oh yeah, you guys laugh. My dad got it every summer. I remember when my dad decided I was old enough to swim. Like, no warning at all. He just picked me up and threw me into the harbor. Everybody else was skating. Man, we had this lottery back home. It blew away lotteries you guys have in Ontario. Like, I've seen the lotteries here. You might win a house, or you get a check every month for the rest of your life. Big deal. This lottery back home, if you won, not only did you win, all future generations of your family won forever. You got a house, you never had to work, you didn't have to pay taxes for the rest of your life. It even had a cool name. Native status. No offense to my friend with the long hair over there. As you probably already figured out, I managed to graduate top of my class in high school. Now, where I come from, that means I was smarter than the other 4 people. But my parents came to the graduation ceremony. They were really proud because at the ceremony they announced that I had scholarship offers to go to university here in Ontario, and I had scholarship offers to go to university and stay back home. And when I got home from the ceremony, my parents surprised me with a graduation present. Luggage. I can take a hint. I moved to Ontario. That's cool. I live in Toronto now. But there are so many things here in Ontario that we don't have back home. It's amazing, like professional sports teams, ethnic restaurants, homeless people. It's really cool. The coolest thing I saw since moving here, believe it or not, it was right here in downtown Kitchener on my way in today. For the first time in my life, I saw a real crack whore. It's a really nice town you guys have here, right? Yeah. I still don't understand why she thought my name was BJ. There are a lot of major differences though between life back home and life here. Like, one thing I've noticed, no offense guys, but you guys in Ontario, you start complaining at a very early age about getting old. Like, I see people, they're 40 and they say, oh, my knees, my back, I'm getting old. Like, you should see people back home. Like, my grandfather, 92 years old. He doesn't take medication, he doesn't complain about anything. He has a morning routine that you could set your watch to. Every morning at exactly 7 a.m., no matter what, he pisses like a racehorse. Every morning at exactly 8 a.m., no matter what, he has his morning bowel movement. The only problem is he doesn't wake up till 10:30. But the other big difference I've seen between life back home and life here has to do with coffee. Like, back home, when you want a coffee, it's really simple. You have small, medium, large, that's it. Now, I knew before I moved here, there's this whole coffee language. You have to specify what country the bean comes from. You have to use these fancy words like grande and venti and doppio and solo. Well, I did my homework. I moved to Toronto. I was really pumped to order my first Toronto coffee. Didn't go over too well. I don't know if it was a language barrier or misunderstanding, but It was late one night, I went into a coffee shop, I wanted a coffee with skim milk. I said, "Hi, I just moved to Toronto. I'd like a tall, skinny Colombian to take home." And next thing I know, I'm back at my place, I'm getting spanked by some South American basketball player named Manuel. And I'm owed $300. Oh, for the record, contrary to what some joker at the coffee shop told me, stop it in Spanish, it is not CC Papi C. Well, there was another time I was getting my hair cut in a place that shares a building with a Starbucks. And this sweet Spanish lady's finishing my haircut. She says, "Will there be anything else, senor?" Now, all I could smell was coffee through the haircut, so I said, "You know what? I could use a small Brazilian." Yeah, she misunderstood. Don't get me wrong, I got nothing against the removal of pubic hair between two consenting adults, okay? But I wanted a coffee and she was causing pain in parts of my body that my wife doesn't even see unless the lights are down. You know, in all fairness, it didn't really help matters though, because I guess between the pain and the confusion, I kind of panicked and I opened my mouth and what came out was the only Spanish phrase I know. CC Papi C. Manuel likes it. I noticed too, when you go to a coffee shop to buy beans, like I make my own coffee now based on past experience. When you go to buy beans, every now and then there's a batch of beans that's $5 a pound more, and it's labeled FTO for Fair Trade Organic. Now I looked into this, and fair trade means the beans were grown and harvested under conditions that are ethical and economically fair. And organic means without the use of pesticides, so fair trade organic. So what the fuck is all the rest of this stuff? So next time I walk to my local coffee shop and that lady greets me with a big fake smile, because she's the one who told me to say CC Papi C. And she says, "Sir, for $5 a pound more, would you like fair trade organic beans?" I'm gonna say, "No thanks, actually I was kind of in the mood for beans that are laced with pesticide. Maybe grown and harvested by child sex slaves, working for a Colombian drug lord. Because with the money I save, I can tip my hairdresser the next time she gives me a Brazilian." That's all I got. I'm Jon Peck. If you're ever in Colombia, tell Manuel he owes me a coffee.